In the last video, we looked at what you spend. Now, let's look at the other side of it. What your money actually produces. Because this is where things start to change. Most people have a number in their head, a total, a balance. But that number doesn't pay you anything by itself. And this is where a lot of plans quietly fall apart. What matters isn't what you have. It's what that money turns into. Income. Because that's what shows up every month. That's what replaces your paycheck, and that's what keeps everything moving. So let's translate this into something real. Take a round number. Let's say $600,000. Not your number, just a number to work with. The question is simple. What does that actually produce? Because most people assume it produces more than it does. A common guideline, and it's just a guideline, is around 4% per year. Some years it's more. Some years it's less. Some years it's negative. But over time, that's the range people tend to work from. So on $600,000, you're looking at about $24,000 a year. That's about $2,000 a month. Now stop there for a second, because that's where the disconnect hits. You hear $600,000 and it sounds like a lot, but $2,000 a month feels very different. And that's the translation people don't make. And this is what it actually looks like when you break it down month to month. Not the total, but what the total produces. Because your expenses don't care about your balance. They show up every month, just like we talked about before. And now, you're matching that up against income. That's the real comparison. So if your life costs $5,000 a month and your money is producing $2,000, you've got a gap. And that gap doesn't fix itself. Now, for a lot of people, Social Security covers part of that, maybe a big part, but rarely all of it. And whatever it doesn't cover, that's the gap we're talking about. And that gap has to be filled somehow. You can pull more from savings, you can adjust your lifestyle, you can bring in income from somewhere else. But one way or another, that difference matters, month after month. And this is where it starts to build, because that gap doesn't just sit there. Every month you're pulling from savings, you're not just spending money, you're shrinking what can produce income next month. So now the same gap takes a lot more effort to cover. And that's how people slowly get tighter, even if nothing changes in their life. And that's where this becomes real. And here's where people get tripped up. They assume the number takes care of itself. That once they hit a certain level, everything just works. But it doesn't. Because the number doesn't solve the problem. The income does. This is how it actually plays out over time. Not just what you have, but what it produces and how that lines up with your life. And once you see it this way, you start asking better questions. What does that actually give me? Because that's the shift. From a number to a monthly reality. And once you make that shift, everything starts to look different. Now, in the next video, we're going to take this one step further and look at what happens when those two numbers don't match. Because that's where the real pressure starts and where most people feel it first. So if you want to follow this all the way through, just subscribe.